A sudden halt on federal funding by the Trump administration sent shockwaves across the country and around the world, throwing global agencies that rely on U.S. funding into chaos. A federal judge has since put a pause on that funding freeze. It is just the latest in a string of economic moves by the Trump administration, chief among them Trump's tariff plan. The president has long touted his mission to impose major tariffs on all imports from Mexico and Canada, as well as China. And in a trade war that lasted only hours, Trump announced and later rescinded tariffs on Colombia after it briefly refused to comply with Trump's immigration orders. Joining us now to talk more about the Trump administration's economic moves is Dr. Brian Kelly, associate professor from the Department of Economics at Seattle University. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for welcoming me.
So I'm going to start just with what question should I be asking you? What's keeping you up at night?
I think what's keeping me up at night is the same thing that keeps business people up at night: unpredictability. Unpredictability is a killer for the economy, and it's a killer for business planning. So that's what keeps me up at night. And I don't know what's next.
Every day it seems more unpredictable. Today, for example, President Trump announced a freeze on federal grants and loans. That potentially impacts millions of Americans. What's your understanding of what that means?
Nobody knows. The news feeds today are full of one theme, which is nobody knows what it means. Medicare windows have been cut off for the states, and yet some administration voices are saying it's not aimed at individual Americans. My great concern with that is, again, unpredictability. If you're in the midst of a project using federal grants, be it cancer research or poverty alleviation, nothing is worse than having to put on the brakes in the middle. It disrupts the project, it hurts your data gathering, it might destroy your entire investment in the project. So that worries me greatly.
And not only reportedly is it targeting immigration, for example, but foreign aid, climate and energy, gender identity, abortion, and more. We really don't know what this freeze is going to target, even abroad, correct?
That's correct. And we also have to note that it's sort of like censorship. A problem with censorship is people self-censor, and so they don't say what they mean, even if it's not directly prohibited. Today, several senior U.S. Agency for International Development officers were suspended from their jobs for supposedly not complying with this order, yet they felt they were. So the danger now is that federal government employees will go too far because they don't know the boundaries of the order. They don't know what they're supposed to be doing.
And then let's talk about what's happening with tariffs. I mean, don't they reduce economic growth rather than stimulate economic growth? What do you understand about his plan around tariffs?
So the way to think about tariffs is they are a tax. And a tax is a drag on economic growth. Now, we need taxes to fund government operations, but people sometimes forget that tariffs are a tax on consumption. Moreover, Americans pay that tax. It's the importer of record pays the tax. And my research and the research of others has shown that, in fact, the foreign exporters don't absorb much, if any, of the tax. So American consumers will be paying more for imported products, and that will run all through the system. Therefore, it will be a drag on economic growth. And Let me add one anecdote from a few years ago locally. The Mukilteo Ferry Terminal in 2018 was delayed and paid higher costs because of the Trump tariffs on imported steel. So infrastructure projects, which we might think don't affect us much, they affect our pocketbook directly. Washington State taxpayers paid more for the Mukilteo Ferry Terminal as a result of the tariffs in 2018.
I have one more question for you, though we're really tight on time. As you know, U.S. tech stocks, they dropped a bit yesterday, rebounded some today on news of the Chinese AI app DeepSeek. Trump called it a wake-up call. Is it a wake-up call? And what happens if the AI bubble sort of bursts and the U.S. falls behind?
I think that there may be a bit of an AI bubble in stock prices, but not in general. I don't think there's going to be any bursting of AI. What it might encourage is some increased efficiency in our programming code. I think what the Chinese have done is realize you can code a lot of AI a heck of a lot more efficiently than we're doing it, with lower energy consumption, I might add. And so it might be a wake-up call to basically get your coding act together, Americans.
It's just beginning. There's so much more for us to discuss in the months ahead. Dr. Kelly, we hope to have you back very soon from Seattle University. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.